So, in the last chapter of my book, The Mind-Gut Connection, I'm trying to summarize all the lessons we have learned in the previous chapters of the close interconnection, communication between our brain, the gut microbes, and the gut, the influence that food has on the system, the effect that our mind states, our emotions have on the system, and reiterate the idea that we have to, in order to understand the system and in order to optimize our health, we have to see it in a so-called systems view or in an ecological view that realizes the interconnectedness of all these parts with each other. We're closely connected in this view with our environment, with the microbes living in the soil, living on plants, living on our pets, our farm animals. All these influences we have to take into account if you really want to understand some of the most common health problems that we see today. I also emphasize the concept of optimal health. Our healthcare system, which is really more a disease care system, spends a phenomenal amount of money on diseases once they have developed. More recently on screening tests, which are also very expensive, that are done to detect disease, but not really on the concept of optimal health, which is somebody who is not in a pre-disease state. So how do we do this? Do we need some of the Star Wars-like sounding novel treatment approaches that are evolving of manipulating, genetically engineering our gut microbes to produce certain things that are missing or that could treat specific diseases? Or are we going to a model where we, based on the understanding that mind, environment, gut and its microbes have to be in a state of balance to prevent this disease in the first place? Mothers have to pay a lot of attention to this early programming of our operating system in the first place. But we also have to pay attention to what we eat, what lessons we have learned from hunter-gatherer societies. We have to do things that maximize the diversity of our ecosystem, particularly the microbial ecosystem. And we should never forget, with all the emphasis on dietary guidelines, that our mind and the signals the brain sends to the gut associated with these mind states such as anger, fear, anxiety, depression play a major role in keeping the ecosystem in a healthy state. So reaching optimal health does not require novel therapies. It does require an awareness of the interconnectedness of systems within our body and with the outside world, with our environment. And if we adhere to these, once we realize that and change our behaviors, optimal health should become a realistic goal, very different from right now where there's very few people living in optimal health, and the majority of our expenditures on health are expended once the systems have broken down, are sometimes irreparable or very expensive to repair. The main approaches that we can use to reach or regain a state of optimal health have to do with, can be characterized by healthy minds, healthy bodies, and healthy food. It's a relatively simple approach once we become aware of it. Healthy minds, because the mind through the brain has a major effect on the balance and the composition of our gut microbes. The same is true about healthy foods, as we have learned. A diversity of plant-based foods and a minimization of intake of animal fats will have a beneficial effect on the balance of our microbial ecosystem. And healthy bodies, we all know that exercise plays a major role in brain health, a major factor in prevention of cardiovascular and brain diseases. We also know that regular exercise will not just benefit the brain, but it has also an influence on the activities of our microbes. we have to become our own ecosystem engineers that understand basic rules and principles of ecosystems, such as diversity, resilience, and healthy states, and change our lifestyle in a way based on the knowledge of a biosystem or ecological engineer.